Hello everyone.
Hi
Hi
all.
Zaid.
Hi Akash.
Oh my
How you
God.
been?
I've been good. I've been good. Uh,
I've seen your last video and it was really interesting to watch that again.
hmm
I think there were so many things that we ranted about and I mean it already sparked so much more discussion in my head, which we
Okay.
can do in further videos.
Uh-huh.
But actually those topics were really interesting and I think they apply a lot with what's coming now with the upcoming releases of the Apple events which is coming right now and the next Samsung event also.
Yeah. So conversations like these actually get us thinking, not just us, the podcast host, but the listeners also, that what tech is being offered right now in the market and what tech they are expecting and what is the best value for money quotient for the tech which they strive to buy, right? Which they strive to have in their life.
Right.
Starting from the basics, be it their mobile phone or their laptops or anything, any tech gadget which they want. Because see, conversations like this will actually make the consumers think, the listeners think, like if I'm buying a certain product for giving this much amount of money, okay, am I really getting, or am I actually getting a real value for money deal, or am I overspending or not spending that much which I should be spending, right?
Exactly. And
So
especially they know where to put their money at and what
yeah,
kind of output it will give them. Because even till today, I'm seeing like now, previously when we used to get, tech products like mobile phones or smartwatches,
yeah,
companies just used to advertise one feature or something and just, people used to blindly buy that. But
yeah,
nowadays, I am seeing that companies are really open with all the tech features and everything, and people, I mean, they have access to that knowledge. But still,
yeah.
I'm seeing some people whenever I see iPhones or top foldables even in people's hand, they don't know
Hmm.
even the basics of it. They
Yeah,
just blindly buy it because it's just the top end phone and it's there in the market right now.
yeah.
So does it apply to their applications? Would they benefit from some other product? They are not aware of it. So
Yeah.
I think all this information that we have in our videos should help them put their money in the right place.
Yeah. And previously, what the company was doing, at as you said, and it was very correct, that companies you used to promote only that one marquee feature, and basis of that just one feature, the entire mobile phone or the entire lineup was getting sold. But now the things have changed. Now the scenario has changed, and because of that, see, now the consumers and the customers are getting more and more aware of what their needs are, and what they should buy and what they should not buy. So, and conversations like these are helping at least me and the people around me to understand what the actual value for money quotient is, of be it of any product, be it of of a smart TV, of a home theater system, of a camera, yeah, or of a home automation device, be it anything. But the value for money quotient and the conversations like these actually help them think about.
And talking about changing times, one more thing I've observed that is changing in a good way.
Yeah,
And the other day, I just walked in, a Samsung store and even an Apple store
yeah,
just to see how much exchange value I'm getting for my 2-year-old Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. It's a 512 gigs version. So
okay,
previously, Samsung phones were not really good for their exchange values.
correct, yeah, yeah,
Usually, people said that if you want good exchange value, go for an iPhone. That's the only option you have.
yeah.
But nowadays, I'm seeing the value is not that bad as used to be as previously. Of course, it's not at the level of the iPhones because
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
I can give you an idea. So if I go ahead and buy S24 Ultra today, so and my S22 Ultra is a 2-year-old phone, so I'm getting 49,000 for it. So
Okay.
basically, it is not a bad value which I'm getting for my 2-year-old phone,
Yeah,
especially an
exactly.
Android flagship phone.
Yeah, exactly. And how much did you pay for that previously when you bought that S22 Ultra?
Yeah, that was about 1,30,000 or something. With the current price, which the S24 Ultra is
Yeah,
today, it
yeah,
was around the similar price bracket that time.
yeah.
So I'm not saying that it's a good exchange value, not the best, but still it's much better than before because previously it was just like garbage value we used to get.
Yeah,
Don't expect
yeah,
much for an Android phone like that.
yeah.
And the difference, what I observed, if I want to buy an iPhone 15 Pro, So in the Apple store, I'm getting an exchange value of about 40,000
Okay.
for this S22 Ultra. The reason being because Samsung usually prefers to have their own exchange products. Exchange They give good exchange bonuses,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
they're
yeah,
giving extra value for the S22 for the S24 if I'm going to buy today.
yeah.
So the point that I'm trying to make here is that so the every in our tech videos we always used to suggest that go for iPhones because 2 years, 3 years down the line when you want to upgrade, you will get good exchange value. Don't I mean the Samsung products give really bad exchange value, but the things are improving nowadays, and hopefully in the near future, perhaps it will match the level of iPhone.
Someday, someday. It definitely will, because you have rightly said that that if we go taking a Samsung phone to a Samsung store and asking them for the resale value, it will be very much higher, because the same thing we have in this motor vehicle world also,
Mm.
right? If we have a Maruti car and if we go to a Tata showroom for to check for the exchange value, it will obviously be less than what we get at a Maruti showroom, right? That is just the one and the same thing. Yeah, the amount of exchange value rise that Samsung has seen, Samsung products and Samsung phones especially have seen, that is actually very commendable. That Samsung phones are now and have started now to hold their value. They have now started to have a good exchange value. At least if we spend 1.5 lakh rupees buying a Samsung or any other Android smartphone, if they are holding their value for longer amount of time, then that is beneficial for us consumers only at the end of the day, right?
And it's also a good point to maintain your device's condition by using good cases, good screen protectors,
Yeah.
because ultimately that affects the value a lot. Even when it comes to iPhones, even though iPhones are said to be so durable with their current titanium frame,
Hmm.
grade 5 titanium frame, I think it is, but still a lot of people are getting scratches, scuffs on it. So
Yeah.
it's still, not at there. So we have to protect our devices to maintain that exchange value.
Yes, correctly. Correct. And also we have to keep the boxes also. It will not pay much, but if we have boxes while exchanging our phone, box in which that phone came, it will actually be beneficial for at least 2 or 3 thousand rupees. Not much, if not much. Okay. But at least 2 or 3 thousand rupees you will get extra if you have the original box along with the device, original charger, original cable.
At least we have the box now, because first they got rid of the charger. I think next
Yeah.
they'll get rid of the cable, then even the box. They'll just give
First
you the phone.
first they got rid of the earphones, the wired earphones which we were getting.
Exactly.
After that, the charging adapter. Now I think in 2 or 3 years the cable will also go. We'll just get a single phone, half charged, and then after buying you will have to buy an adapter and a cable separately, and after that start charging. So enough with the Samsung thing. But what has been bothering me since the last week, since we have discussed this thing and we have decided to put it on our podcast also, what has been happening with OnePlus, man? Is OnePlus going through the drains?
I think so. See, I see what is going on with OnePlus, and I think so that I mean everyone has a different take on it, and we obviously know the practicality of it,
Yeah,
which I think even you can explain now what is going on. But the thing is, OnePlus I think has always dominated the online market.
correct, correct.
Even OnePlus, even other Chinese smartphones. So I think what they're doing that even if they're closing down the stores, offline stores, I think perhaps it's not that much of a bad decision. But still, yeah, it's really good to see a OnePlus store out, which we may not get to see anymore.
Yeah. I remember during our college days, I think in 2012 or 13, everyone was getting in line and getting in queue, because at that time, OnePlus's first phone, OnePlus One, we were getting only on invitation basis, right?
Mm.
If someone has an invitation or a registration code, and they share that registration code with you, that Amazon registration code, only then you will be able to get a OnePlus One phone. Otherwise it was that exclusive, and over the period of time OnePlus has gathered a community, and I think OnePlus community in India, that was even bigger than the Apple community at one point of time. And the launch events, like we have for Apple, for Samsung, for LG, and each and everything. But the launch events of OnePlus, that was at one time on par with Apple's, at least in India. Because in Bangalore, they really had a big auditorium booked, and OnePlus community, their fans, their members went into that auditorium, and they used to have a live screening of the launch event there. So OnePlus community was very very huge in India, and everyone was saying that अरे तेरे पास iPhone है तो क्या हुआ, हमारा OnePlus ये कर सकता है, हमारा OnePlus वो कर सकता है. So in a way my OnePlus phone is better than yours, your iPhone.
Honestly, OnePlus phones actually aesthetically also looked really good. Their screen, their
Yeah, yeah,
displays, the curved edges, whatever design they used to make each year, it used to look like really aesthetically pleasing and also on par with the iPhones. Like
yeah.
whenever we see the display or anyone holding a OnePlus phone in their hands,
It
it was
felt
a different.
premium. The Android OS flavor which they were putting on their phones,
Mhm.
that was also good. But the moment the founder Carl Pei, when he left OnePlus and started a company called Nothing, he left OnePlus because he thought that his visions were getting disrupted, and irrespective of the fact what fans want and what the community wants and what the actual consumers want, they just wanted to make a quick buck. And also at the same point of time, around in 2018, OnePlus got sold to Vivo or Oppo, which is basically the same company. And I think since then the downfall started. Okay, because the OnePlus OS which we were getting, that got replaced by Color OS, which is the same UI which we have in Oppo and Vivo phones. The unique features, those were gone. And then they announced the Hasselblad, the camera company partnership thing, but that also failed. Now, I remember my brother having a OnePlus X, which was a SE level phone at that time.
Mm.
And by chance that phone actually broke, the front display and the back glass. Both were actually shattered, and they took around 15 to 20 days to get that fixed. Actually, that got me thinking, if this happens with any Apple or Samsung or any prominent brand's device, will they take these many days to fix a glass, a display, or the back glass? I think Apple will just get that fixed for you within a day. Starting from March 1st, 2024, sorry, May 1st, 2024, almost 2,500 stores all over India, throughout India, 2,500 plus stores that are going to close. The profit margins have been really low, and the warranty claims and the service claims, those are not serviced by OnePlus in the given amount of time, and basically there are delays. There are lots of delays. So the retailers and the store managers, the store owners are very angry with OnePlus.
Right, yeah, and I think I agree with you about what OnePlus, how their focus shifted from the consumer base to just providing everything. Because I remember the older OnePlus phones, they used to have all the basics right. They
Yeah,
used to
yeah,
give everything, all the basic features at a higher level, like faster charging. I think book charging, they only introduced it in the first place.
yeah,
Plus, they have other features where in a like a affordable and mid-range price bracket, they gave one of the most premium features which you get only in flagship phones. I
yeah,
think
yeah,
that was their primary focus. But then their focus shifted to just providing you, different tech stuff that just invites more and more audience just to buy that product.
yeah.
For example, I remember that phase when they had that pop-up camera. So that was just an experimental phase when it comes to pop-up cameras, and they right away just jumped into it.
Yeah.
And that even the people bought it, that is not did not work out really well in the long run because it has its own limitations and it's not that durable.
And we were just talking about that one marquee feature which company uses to sell the
Hmm.
entire line of smartphones. That was that marquee feature which OnePlus used.
Exactly, and after that, I think the main reason, even when I lost interest from OnePlus phones, was when they collaborated with Hasselblad,
Okay.
because that collaboration should have resulted in better output, better results when it comes to the camera. They could easily have been right there with the iPhones, with the Samsung Ultra flagship level camera phones. But the thing is that that collaboration, I think, did not work out that well because Hasselblad processing is really slow. Their processors could not handle that much speed. So
Okay.
in terms of final output, still OnePlus, even after the collaboration with Hasselblad, is not considered one of the best camera phones. They take decent photos, but
Yeah.
in low light still they're not there.
Yeah.
So I think this is one basic feature they could have focused on, but with that Hasselblad collaboration, they just went on year and year with it, even though the sales showed that people were not much interested in that, because at the end of the day, when they saw comparisons with an iPhone or with the Samsung Ultra phones,
Mhm.
the camera output was just better on those flagship phones rather than
Yeah.
the OnePlus phones. So I think so those things actually, you know, made people lose interest in OnePlus phones. But yeah, still that OnePlus fan base is there, and I think so most of them just prefer the offline online market for that, because that also gives good discounts. And you know, OnePlus is something that you get all the features online. You don't need to like really even feel in the hand. You know how they perform well. So I think the online market already is dominating OnePlus phones. Like whenever Amazon sale comes and all, OnePlus is always there in the discount segment that they provide. So I think uh, closing down of the offline stores, yeah, I think this was coming. I mean, I think we could see this coming even like 1 or 2 years ago. So this would have happened eventually, but yeah, I mean, it's sad that we don't won't get to see it in offline stores, because having that offline stores, I remember even in Pune here, there are such big offline stores of
Yeah.
OnePlus.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it really made us feel like it is no less than an Apple store. Like
Yeah.
all the premium features, all the premium whatever products they had, OnePlus TV, OnePlus phones were already there.
Yeah.
All other things they were, you know, there on the showcase there, and everything. It just felt like it was an Apple store.
Those were just not stores, those were experience centers.
Experiences,
You can
exactly.
experience the product. You can take a product in your hand, you can hold that product in your hand and you can experience it. If it if I feel that product, so that those were experience centers. Actually, today morning only I was talking to one of my friends, and he was confused between an iPhone 15 or 13. So I gave him pros and cons of both. Okay. And after that, I just told him one thing, that ek kaam karna, go to a store. Okay. Hold both the phones in your hand and just see which phone clicks for you. If any of the phone feels right for you, you can buy that. But if we are not having offline stores for that offline experience centers for that, then we have to rely on just the word of mouth marketing, that अरे ये फोन ले लो, ये तो बहुत अच्छा फील होता है, ये फोन ले लो, ये हाथ में बहुत अच्छा फील होता है, मतलब हाथ में एजेस चुभते नहीं है, ऐसा फील होता है, वैसा फील होता है, उसका बैक ये डिजाइंड है, फ्रॉस्टेड ग्लास, सो इट वोंट स्लिप आउट ऑफ योर हैंड. Those are just things which we get to hear, and those are the things which we can read in the review. But what about experiencing that actually experiencing that product first, and after that taking the decision of buying it?
Actually, and the latest iPhones are a big proof of that. You remember I was telling you, like, since the new design came out with the sharp edges, I
Yeah,
always
yeah.
was telling you that it's really sharp. It actually hurts in the hand for holding longer for longer periods of
Correct,
time.
correct. Yeah,
And
yeah,
now when they made the switch to that those rounded edges, I mean, whenever you see a YouTube video or someone talking that no, now we have rounded edges, it
yeah.
does not feel okay. Okay, that's a good improvement. That's fine. But when you actually feel it in a store, I have done it, and it really feels awesome to hold the latest iPhone 15 series because of those rounded edges.
Correct,
It's a
correct.
small change they made, but it actually makes it feel more comfortable and more premium.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that is something that you can just experience in a store. Plus, and nothing can replace that experience of buying something from a store,
yeah.
you know, because when you buy offline, you just receive that package, unbox it on your own, and it's not that of like a glamorous thing. But
Yeah,
when you buy it in a store, you feel like a celebrity.
yeah.
So that is one experience that you know you will get in a store.
And nowadays, the Amazon and Flipkart's policies have also changed, that phone they deliver it to your doorstep, and we ask them to open their package for you. Previously, they used to do that. Okay, they used to
Mm.
open that package in front of us, and we can make a video, and if we can check if that product which we are getting is authentic or not, or if with Flipkart it used to happen, and sometimes with Amazon also it happened. But nowadays, after their policies have changed, after that, the delivery person won't agree to open that parcel or that box for you. You just have to do it yourself, and you have to just to be sure, you have to take a video of it, If the product is there, it's fine. If the actual product which you have ordered, it's if it's there, it's fine. But if the product is not there, then what about that scenario? Then you have to register a customer complaint with the customer care. Then they'll service that request, then they'll ask you for the proof, and it will take on days. And I have read on many posts that people have experienced these uncertainties and these troubles. People have experienced
Right.
having an offline store where you can go and buy and reliably buy a product. It is always helpful, but with OnePlus's case, it is not going to happen anymore.
Exactly. I agree with you on that one. So I do hope they at least keep a few stores open, like at least two, three in one city. That should have been better. But yeah,
Yeah.
it is what it is now.
But what they have been doing collectively, I'll read an article for you. Retailers cited low profit margins, delays in processing warranty and service claims, as well as forced product bundling as a reason for the decision. As per a report by Money Control, the decision may affect 4,500 stores across 23 retail chains in Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Maharashtra, and Gujarat. So almost 4,500 stores will be closed starting May 1st. So this actually will put a huge dent in OnePlus's pocket because they will eventually lose out there on their community.
Exactly.
The OnePlus, the people who have been OnePlus fans since years, those because the experience centers are not there and because they will keep on hearing negative news all over the place once these stores have closed, because this is negative PR also. So the
Yeah, reputational damage.
if the marketing team can fix this by doing brilliant marketing and making people trust OnePlus again, if they are able to do that, then it will be a win-win situation for OnePlus. But if they are not able to do that, then 4 or 5 years down the line, OnePlus might have to exit India
Right, yeah. That is why I think,
entirely.
like I said, I think at least they should keep a few stores open, like
Yeah,
premium OnePlus stores. At least in major cities, they should have at least two, three premium stores. So that might help them going further down the line.
yeah, yeah.
If at all not in every retail store.
But at least in major cities, they can keep their stores open and at least service their request and warranty claims on
Right, yeah. But we can go to an Apple service center. So
time.
our next
Yeah.
next thing I think we wanted to talk about was about the upcoming Apple event, which is
Yes. Yes.
slated for 7th May.
Yeah.
And this seems to be clearly there is no surprise in this. It
Mm.
clearly seems to be an iPad only event.
Yeah. Yeah.
And with the new pencil also, like the pencil is highlighted so much there, we everyone can guess it that we are going to get a new pencil perhaps this time, the third gen Apple pencil. So this time we're going to get a lot of changes in the iPad. Lot of changes नहीं मिलेंगे, sorry. We can never expect lot of changes in any Apple event. But yeah, there will be improvements like the M3 chip would be there. The
Mhm.
iPad Air might get a refreshed
Yeah.
model. But here's the thing, when it comes to iPads, I don't think it makes sense to upgrade them so much. Yeah, I do get it. Apple, iPad say they haven't been refreshed for a long time. I think last जो था वो 2022 में कब तो
Yeah. So their iPad's refresh cycle is like within 1.5 or 2 years. Whereas previously it was once a year, just like iPhones. But now they have increased that time frame to 1.5 or 2 years.
Right. So one thing I mean I think we can know for sure is that we are going to get the M3 chip inside the new iPads this time.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, do we even need that in an iPad? Because
Yeah.
that's a very niche scenario where people would want an M3 chip in an iPad because uh, like for example, I remember I had the older iPad Air, the fourth generation, which had the A15 Bionic, not even the M1 chip.
Hmm.
So I used to edit all my 4K YouTube videos even with multiple layers on that iPad. So
Okay.
that iPad was already so powerful that I don't need to really upgrade to an M1 or M2 or even an M3 iPad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and if at all I needed some more horsepower, like I had
Hmm.
more applications where I want to do special effects or I want to do graphic designing, more power intensive tasks, then at least what I've been seeing, I won't invest in an iPad. I would go for a MacBook Pro or I would have an iMac setup with all the right specs that would help
Yeah,
me
yeah,
get my application done. So I think all the businesses would rather invest in that, which would be long term. So having an iPad with that performance boost may not affect that much people. And I think I've been reading a lot of comments on several iPad videos and also
mm,
seeing several forums where people are clearly saying that they don't want to upgrade. They will not upgrade because most of them, like 90%, 95% of them use their iPad for basic tasks like browsing or
yeah,
multimedia,
yeah,
watching Netflix or YouTube. So you don't really need to have the latest iPad for that. Everything is already getting their job done.
yeah,
So only in those businesses, I think so, which are require power intensive tasks on their iPads, and they need to carry it everywhere with their business wherever they
yeah,
go. They need to
yeah.
travel with it. I think only those niche scenarios want that higher performance.
Yeah, iPad is only, user and the test case specific. If you are a graphic designer, then you might need an iPad along with the Apple Pencil. In very selected scenarios, you'll be, you'll have to have an iPad. Otherwise, there's no way out. But see, as if you said that you are using an iPad Air 4th generation, right, which had A15 Bionic chip. I have a 2019 iPad Air 3. Okay, and I bought it in 2019 only. It has, I think, A13 Bionic chip. That is the chip which iPhone 10 had, I guess.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, content.
So, and that iPad is still going strong. Okay, the only time I use that iPad and the Apple Pencil is while creating the thumbnails for the YouTube videos, or whenever I game, I play PUBG. The use cases for the iPad, which I'm basically trying to say, is that is very low and that is very specific. If you're a content creator, then you need an iPad. If you're a graphic designer, you need an iPad.
Right. I remember a keynote by Steve Jobs
Hmm.
when they introduced the first iPad. They had this presentation where they kept iPhone on one side and Mac on the other side, and they put the iPad just in between. They said
Yeah,
that
yeah.
it should be something more than a phone. It should give you a better display and more
Hmm.
convenience, more portability for it. And when it comes to portability, like it should not be a heavyweight thing like a MacBook Pro or something. It should be
Yeah,
lighter than that. So
yeah,
it should sit in between. So all those businesses which have those applications that might apply, or all those individual users who have those applications where they want to, you can't content if you watch a lot of YouTube videos or Netflix a lot on your mobile phone. Then it's better to have a bigger screen, an iPad for
yeah, yeah.
that multimedia consumption. So like those use cases are there where the iPad sits. So that is why this performance boost of M3 for me it does not make that much of a sense.
Yeah. See, uh, the time when Steve Jobs unveiled the first iPad was in 2010, and at that time, the smallest MacBook which we used to get was of 13 inches, 13 inches screen iPad. Sorry, 13 inches screen MacBooks. Okay, and the phones, the screen size of the phones was 3.5 inches. The iPhones, which I'm talking about, the iPhone screen size was 3.5 inches. Though those iPhones which we used to get till iPhone 4S. Okay, and the screen size was 3.5 inches. And why did the iPad sit right in between? Because it had 7.9 inches screen. So if you want a screen bigger than of an iPhone, and if you want a screen which is smaller than, if you want a form factor which is smaller than of that of a MacBook, then an iPad was for you. Okay, but now in today's scenario, an average screen size of a smartphone is around 6.1 to 6.3 inches, right? And the average screen size of an iPad or of any tablet, so to say, is around 7.5 or 8 inches. So the difference between the screen size of a phone and a tablet, that difference has reduced. So it actually doesn't make, at least for me, any sense for Apple to keep on selling iPads if they if they just want to sell iPads as an accessory, or as a good to have thing, or as a second or third device of an Apple user or of a consumer, right? Because the first device will always either be a MacBook or an iPhone. So iPad doesn't actually sit right in between an iPhone or a MacBook right now. And if they are putting latest chipsets in those iPads, and if they're not releasing the proprietary software and the proprietary apps like Final Cut Pro or DaVinci Resolve to their full potential in the iPads, then what is the use of putting M1,
Particular,
M2, or M3
exactly.
chips, right, in those iPads if you are not letting the users realize the iPad's full potential? See, if you're buying an iPad Pro 12.9 inches, you will get 16 GB of RAM. And if you are using Luma Fusion for editing the photos and editing the videos, at that time the RAM is built till 8 GB only or 10 GB only. You won't be
Hmm.
able to use the entire 16 GB of RAM. So what is the use of that?
Exactly. And their MacBooks have also gotten really closer in design perspective, as well as the sleekness also. The MacBook Air, which we are using, the M1 M2, sorry, the M2 MacBook Air, which we are using.
Yeah,
I mean, I
yeah.
can see it here as well. It just looks like an iPad Pro with a keyboard, magic keyboard with it. Just looks so similar, you know.
Yeah, we the only difference we have is we don't have the higher refresh rate.
But that's the thing, you know, having this MacBook Air instead of an iPad actually makes more sense because we can install all sorts of applications in it, like Final Cut Pro, DaVinci Resolve, everything we can have here. Even all those graphic designing stuff also we can do.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to have a MacBook Air rather than an iPad because at the same, even the even the iPad is not cheap. It is still expensive. If you go for the iPad Pros, they just match to the point of the MacBook Air price range. So then,
And if you are buying an iPad Pro, then you will have to get a Magic
hmm,
Keyboard also, and after that, an Apple Pencil also. So that will eventually cost you more than what an M2 or M3 MacBook Air costs,
right. And
right?
speaking of Apple Pencil, I really think you know what Samsung has been doing with their tablets. Apple should also do that. Like they should bundle it with their
Yeah,
iPads.
yeah, yeah,
You have to always buy a pencil separately. I mean, even this year, I don't think that would be the case. We will need to buy it separately.
yeah.
But I think they should do this. They should bundle it in with their tablets, like Samsung is doing, because it's so convenient. You know, you just buy the tablet, you
Mhm.
get uh, the pencil or stylus within the box. So that is
Yeah.
like something that you get by default. So which is amazing at that price point. Because again, you know, buying this separately, making the decision separately, and taking care of that pencil also charging it separately. It is
Mhm.
something that a user needs to think separately. Like, okay, do you want a pencil? Do you want to spend extra? That is
Yeah.
something you know which I think does not make sense. They should bundle it with the package,
Yes,
and plus they
totally.
should have some improvements because I previously owned the Apple Pencil second generation.
Okay.
But I didn't see much of a use case with it. The only use case was taking some notes or just scrolling through the UI, or at least it did not have anything like motion gestures or tap was there, but it did not always work that well. Plus you didn't have squeeze features, you didn't have more Bluetooth functions or Bluetooth air
Hmm.
features like air gestures and all that we have.
Yeah.
Plus the latency was also like not so perfect that okay, this is something that really makes a big difference. It was nothing like that. So I hope they even improve on the latency this time.
Yeah, and see, as Apple will keep on putting the latest chipsets in their iPads, the prices will also keep increasing, right? If an average iPad Air in India costs today upwards of around 50,000 rupees today, and the higher model will obviously cost more than that, around 10 or 12,000 more. And the model which will have an eSIM installed in it, which we the cellular model, it will also cost 20,000 more. Actually, while specking up the iPad, we will actually enter into a MacBook territory, or a Mac Mini territory, or an iMac territory, right? So it will be actually beneficial for the users, or the buyer or the consumers, to get just a MacBook Air, be it of any configuration, be it M1 Air, or M2 Air, or M3 Air. As soon as you have entered into that price bracket or price territory, the user will obviously opt for a laptop or a MacBook than an iPad. That will keep the iPad market stagnant, and not many people will buy it. So just to improve, if you are listening to this, I know you're not, but if you are listening to this, just please, please, my humble request is that you just keep the price range of the iPads low and put on more and more features.
And I think one more interesting thing that might be coming to the iPads is the calculator app. I think
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
finally going to put that. But I've been hearing that the latest iPad OS update won't come until September. So I
yeah,
think
yeah.
we'll have to wait till September to get that calculator app on that. This is such a basic thing, but I mean they should have done this long back instead of people having to use third-party apps just for a basic function like a
Hmm.
calculator.
Hmm.
But it's good that it's finally coming. So that's a good thing.
What Apple has been saying about an iPad app, iPad calculator app, is that if they are not able to find a way to make the utilization, the entire screen's utilization perfect for a calculator app, they won't do it. So I am still not sure if the calculator app will be there in the iOS 18, sorry, iPad OS 18. But if it does, if it comes, then it will be well and good.
Right, but I think this is such a basic thing. I mean, the engineers at Apple can't figure out how to place a calculator app on a
Yeah, yeah,
iPad screen. I mean, this is such a basic thing because that function is something very basic, right? Everyone do. I mean, people should not need to buy an app for that or download an app for that. It should
yeah,
already be there in the built in the OS.
yeah,
So
yeah.
this is something I mean I quite didn't like it why they are taking so much time to have that or placed in well.
As much as I know for now, uh, iPads, the refresh which iPads are going to get, though at least the Pro iPads will have not the mini LED screen but the OLED screen. I don't think that will help Apple to sell more iPads in India. But yeah, it will be just a good to have feature.
Yeah, that is why I mean this time it's not at all interesting like
Yeah.
what to expect. I mean if you even see like people making videos on this Apple event, they are
Hmm.
not really interested to show what we're going to get. They're just trying like, okay, we might get this, you might get that. Who needs it anyway? So it's that I mean that thing has become now. So whenever we get the new iPads, I think this thing is only beneficial to those who have been waiting for a long time to upgrade their
Mhm.
iPads,
Yeah.
or they don't own an iPad at all. So they
Yeah.
just want to have the latest one, whichever is going to be launched now. I think this
Correct.
will just benefit them, but not those who have the recent iPads which were already there in the previous lineup, or those who don't have much use case with their iPads.
Yeah.
So it will not affect a lot of people. I think there will be only like a small majority of, I mean, small minority of people who would actually want to or would be interested in this Apple event.
Yeah.
Uh, Not many people.
But still, that minority includes us. We will cover it and we will share our thoughts on what all products have launched and
Yes,
what are our
that is
takes
our
on that.
job. That is our
Yeah.
job to tell everyone what is going to be there. But we are not going to buy it. I'm not going to buy it
No,
because I
neither
don't
neither
need
am
it.
I. Neither am I. I am using a 5-year-old iPad and it is still working fine for me. It has heating issues now, but it is still working fine for me, and I am going to use it till until its last breath.
Exactly, and I also have this. I think you also have it. We both have the M2 MacBook Air,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
mine is a spec'd up version. It has 16 gigs of RAM and 512 GB SSD.
Okay.
So it pretty much has everything, and the design also is so sleek. Like I can carry it anywhere. It fits in any bag. So I
Yeah.
don't really need to go to an iPad or spend money there separately to have something.
Yeah.
This is more than enough for me at least.
Yeah, and my M2 MacBook Air is just the basic MacBook Air of the basics. Okay, so it is just the base model, 8 GB of RAM, 256 GB of storage.
And you
Because
have
I
the slower SSD version, right? 256.
yeah, yeah, but it is still working fine for me. It is still working. I got it around 6 to 8 months ago, and it is still working fine for me. And I whatever podcast that we are recording and which I'm editing on that thing, and it is working surprisingly well. So this is all for this episode of the Limitless Tech Pod,
Thank
and
you all. Thank
we'll
you.
see you later. Thank you for watching, and please consider subscribing if you like this video.